So back to normal. It's a bit weird.
Is he already kind of chopping, cutting, laminating?
Oh, we've done the laminating.
You've done it.
Yeah, we had to do that straight away.
He couldn't wait.
I was really annoyed about that because I had to do all the lifting and holding of it and everything. But it's done. Hi.
I'm supposed to lead the meditation. I got thrown. I was waiting for a phone call from to do with the volunteers and then doing it. No.
Did you say you just had a text from Turkey?
Yeah. Well, it's not. It's. I mean, it's intended for the take and stuff. It's good.
Maybe you should go. The obituary, that's what I didn't like. You know, that was the first one that we took once you so that's all what was happening. You know, it's good to see happenings like that. I was out shopping. Very good.
I have no objection. Let it be known.
Let it be known, right? Does it look for this one at least?
I think that with the Heart Sutra, I believe.
Yes.
Is it okay?
提前
Yeah, Deshna is the Umti.
我们就这个，这个可是我就不吃少了， 我们才能，
Yeah.
我们才能就容易按着这个做，
There's a Milla.
那个做梦，
Money.
蛮也
So, Venerable Umte. So, we're going to do the Heart Sutra. After that, we're going to do a recitation of some mantras for the sake of the sick. So, we're going to do a couple of rounds of malas of Medicine Buddha, then Tara. And we can also top it up with Om Mani Padme Hum, just in case.
Does the suggestion we want to read about us?
Ngasa di Quran Umte Chigi in the Quran.
我们这样的，
No,
I was thinking about it.
no, you did it well. All right.
Quite possibly.
Ja, je čekam, da se je one time the Bhagavan was running mass and party together with the great community of monks and the great community of Bodhisattvas. Also at that time, the Bhagavans of souls and categories of phenomena called profound perception. Also at that time, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva looked upon the very practice of profound perfection of wisdom and beheld as five aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Then through the power of the Buddha, the Venerable shared Uttras said this to the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Abhagavishvara. Ashi then is son of the lineage train who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom. It's said that in Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalika describes this to the Buddha Shariputra. Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection. Unlike this, correctly and repeatedly beholding those five aggregates also is empty of inherent nature. Form is empty, emptiness is form, emptiness is not other than form, form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, composition, and practice of consciousness are empty. Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are emptiness without characteristics, unproduced, unsustained, not without state, not efficient, not fulfilled. Shariputra, therefore, in emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no composition, no practice, no consciousness. No eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no vision, no form, no sound, no odor, no taste, no phenomenon. There is no I element in soul element, including no mind element in no mental consciousness element. There is no ignorance, no extinction of ignorance in soul element, including no aging or death, no extinction of aging or death. Similarly, there is no suffering, origination, cessation, and path. There is no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no limit. Shariputra, therefore, because there is no attainment for the sadhus relying on perfection of wisdom, without obscuration, without fear, having completely passed beyond error, the each minute of all the Buddhas who dwell over 3 times also manifestly completely awakened to the unsurpassable, perfect, complete enlightenment, in reliance on the perfection of wisdom. Therefore, the mantra to perfection of wisdom, the mantra to perfection. Mantra equal to the unequal, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, should be known as the truth and does not cause. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is declared. Tayata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasangati Bodhisattva. Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, should train in the perfection of wisdom. The verses of concentration commended Bodhisattva Mahasattva and describes sense and finished is like that to do. With this perfection of wisdom, just as you've indicated even in the Dhamma. Bhagavan had thus spoken in the number of Shariputra and the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya, and thus the rhyming and the normal words of God's humans, asuras, and Kantava were all joyed and highly praised, not spoken by the Bhagavan. Chanted of God in the streams, by the powers of clairvoyance and magical emanations, look after practitioners like another child. Akasamada Tachana. Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasangati Bodhisattva. Also present power of truth may enter Shinton Korea School. May all make causes of personality completed. May also break 1,000 obstacles. May may all enjoyments be recorded, and may there be auspiciousness, health, happiness here and right now.
Sangye Janam Swati Jananda Chajo Dami Yasuchi Dami Chushi Dala Densha Sangye Drupala Sho Sanji Chela Soji Chana Chacho Badu Nami Kyasushi Badu Chushi Bidesama Ralan Desha Sanji Juba Sho Sanji Chela Soji Chana Chacho Badu Nami Kyasushi Badu Chushi Bidesama Ralan Desha Sanji Juba Sho Kangi Tudzini Zone Tawa Tamji Pambi Che Tambi Chuni Tenji Kodam Kela Changze Ro
Mahadekanze, Bekanze, so Om Bekanze, Bekanze, Mahadekanze, Bekanze, Raja Samuga. Om Bekanze, Bekanze, Mahadekanze, Bekanze, Raja Samuga. So 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 Om Bekanze, Bekanze, Om Bekanze, Bekanze, Raja Samuga. So Om Bekanze, Bekanze, Mahadekanze, 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 Raja Samuga. So Om Bekanze, Bekanze, Mahadekanze, Bekanze, 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 Raja Samuga. So Om Deganze, Deganze, Ma, Deganze, Deganze, Raja Samuga Deso. Om Deganze, Deganze, Ma, Deganze, Raja Samuga Deso. Om Deganze, Deganze, Ma, Deganze, Deganze, Raja Samuga Deso. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re So. 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 Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re So.
Om Dare Tu Dare Dure So, 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 Om Dare Tu Dare Dure So,
Om Tare Tu Tare Ture
Rezo,
So.
Om Dare Tu Dare Dure So, Om Dare Tu Dare Dure So, Om Dare Tu Dare Dure So,
Om Tare Tu
Tu Dare
Tare
Dure
Ture
So,
So.
Om Dare Tu Dare Dure So,
Om Tare Tu Tare Ture
So,
So.
Om Dare Tu Dare Dure So, 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 Om Dare Tu Dare Dure So. Kevan Diyen Yudin, Tsultrim, 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 Ki Salam Geba Sho. Kadip Samdiri, Nibaran, Shen, Nujit, Miteba, Pambanis, Harbe, Dagi, Digbin, Jebu, Siji, Inji, Dalam, Pendo, Shi, Yimbi, Ten Yaman, Shenas, the Tomo, Jidan Kazan, Chons, Samdre.
Let's go back to the text and pick up on the point that we left off yesterday. So we've been looking at a section of dispelling objections, abandoning objections to reflecting on unwanted occurrences being due to one's own faults. So we've looked at the first two lines in verse 50 yesterday, rejecting that it is invalid for others to do something that benefits us. Let's look at the next section that comes out of the heading of rejecting that it is invalid for us to bring harm upon others, in the last two lines in verse 50. So let's first off look at Geshe Dhammarinpoche's commentary, which begins with an argument. So it says, since the other person exhausts my negative karma, they benefit me, and therefore will also not go to the lower realms.
That is evidence. Kardi Dagi Da Soma, Teda Land Chish Chungus. Java de Los is a Kardi Dagi Nishila Sobogombe, Da Digbali, Digbali Somas, 강사 대달한들 손음 지식 중스 네버지 바시들이야 니 저슈슈 문도 생각을 게위 레 마체파 네번 바시 제베소스.
After posing that argument, we look at the last lines in verse 50. If I guard myself, then how could they receive anything here? The answer is, since I meditate on patience for my attacker, I protect myself from negativity. But how does the other person receive merit here in this life? In that sense, Geshe says that it seems that what it is stated here is that there's not much connection with the other person in terms of receiving merit. It's not related. They do not practice virtue and only harm.
데다이나야 디기 레 디치니 레 디기 아니 제부 녀원 좀 무고와 딘디 용스가 말스 레디 아 미기빌 레 바시 네버 치빌 레 바시긴자 디 제부레 아니 동안 요야지 마토비 아니 텔라 대원 조한시 요마레스 고스다.
And since the other person, the harm doer, is doing a non-virtuous action, the result of that can be only suffering. How can it be otherwise? It cannot be otherwise, since it is solely a negative action that they're performing.
Rangi ran sonjini, rangi digbali pyobya, ani digbali pyoba, and tungingi, sobokumbi, jebula teni, sosola sonam paudumewa chik, junguyores ra, the dig sonam joisagi, kenza di, and gyuzu running sobokumyati. In a game di, ani pashobi, never chibi, ken ten junguyonza. 아니 다 파쇼마텔이야 그런 네버 지비긴 제부티 동안 바시 레디니야 디긴 제버치 아니 그 제버치 떡기 야 파샤스나무도 아니 사베 레기 차든지 좀 미시고 요 말이스 라 카즈슈가 만시제 산제단 찬주선바 간지 아니 깨위려야 아니 제와 산산 제와 체노 아니 마음발이야 아니 디기 제비야 부정와 독산 제와 체네야 kun 제와 치고 떡기 제와 체사기 제유디 상부진비 떡기 안 텔레테니야 아니 펜도 용대와 딘지 열 송라스라.
So when we practice patience in the face of harm, we accumulate merit. So certainly the cultivation of merit contributes to our own accumulation of merit. From the viewpoint of the other person, the harm doer, they are inflicting harm upon us, and the result of that could only be suffering. So the cause for our accumulation of merit is our practice of patience. The other person, the harm doer, is acting as a condition for our accumulation of merit. But since they're performing a negative action, the result of that could only be suffering. So you could say that the result of that could only be suffering, and yet still, just like we've said before, there is a connection that is created between ourselves and them, and something useful could come out of it. And yet the result of the negative action can only be suffering. It's similar to what we've said before with respect to Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. There was that aspirational prayer that we have looked at. Whatever should occur, whatever way they relate to me, be it positive or negative, may that bring about benefit to them. So even if a negative action is performed towards Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and so forth, still by simply placing an imprint of being connected or related to an object. And in relation to this scenario, it is a positive object, Buddhas or Bodhisattvas. By the virtue of having created such a connection, there could be benefit that will ensue in the future.
Never cheba pen doji imas, The Parubigi, Rangya, never chibadi, Rangya, Chip Pendosi, Joyabaina, and it Rang Yang, and a pa, and it never chibadi, and it Rigives, Jigo said, Lavainas, Rot.
Let's look at the third point in the objection, coming under the heading of arresting in gratitude towards those who act beneficially in verse 51. Now, before we look at the wording of verse 51, again, Geta Domination posits an argument. If the attacker is a benefactor, then one should also attack others, in the sense that if the person that is harming you is giving you a benefit, you could say that just as well, if I attack the other person, if I harm them, I will benefit them.
That the land here, when is land Nujina, Teta Somber Mangula, Dag Jobo and Yambangur, then a Katushi Bangurs.
To answer that, Shantideva says, nevertheless, should I return the harm, it will not protect them either. By doing so, my conduct will deteriorate, and hence this fortitude will be destroyed.
The Dibdi Maris, Deni, and Nushilaya, Nulentaba di, and Sosu Yambi Gu, and Sosu Kunji Yambi Gu, and Sosu Divason Yadi, and Yamni, Nandri Gudrich Mother, he Pentosi Yomares, the Dodo Deris Rock.
So you shouldn't think along these lines, thinking that, therefore, if you attack the other person, it will benefit them, because attacking them, harming them, would only be a cause for your own demise, your own destruction. It will only be a cause for being born in invisible states of existence and experiencing suffering. So do not think about it like that.
Rather, Namju Penangazuta and Namju Chedanlaya Pena. Me Kundrutsawo Jedan, Mijung in Giovanna, and it made Dugja Shudo, Kundrutsawo Shudo, Jung in Dose, Lagilagia, and it took Sosu Denanshi Roch, Cheddar Chagos Ra, the Dichawino, and Sosu Anchi, Susu Magasa Nanshin Roch, Sojagos or Chagos Ra, some Yakutana, Ketsi Kundrutsawo Jilia, Gagmevana, and Susu Kundru Yon Tangodas Ra. And Ketsi Pigilaya, Jobang Yambalaya, Jobang Yambal Tondi, and it go mena, and Sosu Jobadi, Joba Marab Chagi Yumitarjan, and Joba Sambu Kegoich, Dindos, and Namikashi did it to the Pugro did it, and not Shasa Uni governments, not Simjana Gawius, to the Bay Ninja, but the Pen get the pen Nani con the Peninju coatus, Penimbudos ra, one of the Assams on Roach.
We might have a certain view of another person. We might think that the person is very angry, an angry person, or a harmful person. And in our mind, we develop that idea that this is an evil person. But if we develop anger towards them and so forth, we become like them. We become like the other person, and this is what we want to avoid. So if we have a certain idea that the other person is negative or is bad, they're angry, they are harmful and so forth, what we need to do with that is to make sure that we reduce our own anger, that we become a good-mannered person. So if we think that the person behaves badly, that's an ill-mannered person, what we need to do is then to make sure that we ourselves become good, kind of well-behaved person. Geshe came across kids that said that, I really like animals. I don't eat meat, I really like animals. Geshe thinks that that's kind of a really nice thing, a really smart thing to say.
Dinza, Jadang Konyung Yesra, Kasana Chulu Singidi, Nanzo me to Dosa Chiki Yagi, Tabchik. chitang chulu korang ani mutsu ruru chiyak nipa nyambon chiyak ani tab chik res dinti sungu da disongo ne yagu das lakdun pena namba sanji wi chero ji na ani mutsama ani tumbu da chambu mutsama ge nipa nyambon toni ani chik pena ta yongda re zamni shide treyak tablam chi redos ta ine yang anzu chu chingen soge ani chu di chu ya sangbu di che mashibi ongi ani chi chu ruru che tsabya ani chi katoryak ani king soru samzu chadro dos dizu pe phambu insares ra ani chi chi le nelen tangde di ani katoryak nganzu doksa chigdi mayung yagi kenaya roshak dos teni kator sondigi ani ta chig sosusula ya nibatis yoba di nibati komban ya meba ani chig sama tsu nyamrugi niba nyambon chini niba chimbu trintu ya dia kokob shodro ya o dindi chadro dos ra zan nöshela ya nönem teseba di tsawni ni mawe bachik dindi insares.
Particularly when you think about it in terms of religious matters, and Geshe has had that before, that religions or spiritual traditions have the ability to bring people together, to promote a common goal together. So when people come together, they have an ability, a potential to pursue a certain idea or a certain point in a powerful way. Particularly when you think about it, for example, from the viewpoint of the Buddhist tradition, creating a cohesive Buddhist community that has a greater ability than to promote issues or ideas such as peace and well-being in the world. By people coming together, creating a cohesive community, we can utilize the potential of the community in a way that is much greater. And if you do not contribute to the cohesiveness or the coming together of people, if you actually cause them to disperse, to divide, and so forth, you're undermining that ability of the community to pursue such common goals. You're creating divisions by becoming a divisive person. So you're harming the common goal, the common potential of the group. So for us, it is important to take that to heart, and particularly here when we consider what Shantideva says, it says in no way it is appropriate to retaliate, to harm by harming back.
These chö samudi and tösum consum chigiyordene ditsuti lane yakuch tarmatuba ti ji kodye yakuch le matudi and nganzu pakakiyagi and again so kapkola ya kyuntu da ditsu pe pamburesasra pena nganzu chitangi ji zambuningi me yonzo tsu ji ani changbu chayagi tablam ji tren matuwa ya nganzu chi number nyung di injimini tsu do za chi di chetu ya chi ra de chulgodas lagdön di chi ta ji penata nyung sheba nganzu di ngadin di nang yebigi chi number nyung chi mo do yomaras dia tsu ruru chi matuwa dia chi pa tsu chi le ya chok chori ro gandan ro ya kecha su chi shede wa na and pe masu lo phambu reshas ra.
So then as Buddhists, our goal is to follow a process of development through study, reflection, and meditation. And even if we can't do that well, without developing well our study, reflection, and meditation, without developing a good understanding, it is possible in one way or another that we act as conditions for creating some division amongst us, a rift. So when we think about creating conditions for division, even between ourselves, then even if we cannot on a global scale to promote or to contribute to a greater degree of harmony between people, at least in a smaller community, we need to make sure that we at least try to do that. Not behave in a way that is divisive. Particularly when we consider, for example, our community, we're a small community, just a few group of people coming together when you consider the greater community here in Australia or the world by and large. So we're a small community. So if we cannot contribute to at least some sense of cohesiveness or unity in our community, if we act in a way that is divisive, creating a rift or creating problems, that's really poor. That's really sad.
제 야컵 디나고 근데 나디 친준 디나고기 먼저 지금 남은 뉴스 더 루투무다 루루치마다 가가래 지금 더 루루치야기 상으로 담아내 피를 포드는 출 포드는 가서걸 포딩이 소리지 켄자지래도 스다라 간지 켄자지래셨어.
So when we think about it, particularly here in Australia, so amongst the number of Buddhists in Australia, we're quite, you would say, a minority. The community that we have here is just a small group. Sometimes people kind of shift position, jump from one camp to the next, and rather than creating some kind of unity, it's kind of pulling to different directions. And Geshe says that sometimes when you look at this behavior, it's quite sad. Oh. Even within Queensland, we cannot come together as a strong community.
착당 무슨 예린 착당기 아니 님불이야 자르고마도 디게 반자디 잡된 소리지 레야 자원님이 걔는 디기요 말 디차요 말했어 라.
So that sense of division is created by anger and attachment that hold some as close and others as distant. The Dhamma applies an antidote to that sense of attachment and anger, holding some as close and others as distant. So if we act in a way that is supportive of that division of anger and attachment, if we increase the gap between people, those close and those that are distant to oneself, we're not doing it in the right way.
참인지 돌이야 계제시니 아니지 원이 레와디 아니 참인지 장주고 섬야지 아니 타니고 용약 상호당 대야 타르무 차려야지 마도비기 들려 편도 자원이요 말이죠.
The commentary says with respect to that, when I harm the other person in retaliation, they will not be protected, and my practice of the 4 dhammas of a monk and my promise to meditate on love and compassion degenerate. Finally, also the austerity of patience disintegrates. Which means that when we look at our training in virtue, in terms of our training in virtue, what we should do is to draw closer and closer to others through the cultivation of loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta. We should in no way whatsoever draw further and further away from others in acting in ways that entrench our anger and attachment, holding some as close and others as distant.
chöd torshik royak sorich tolaya ani sosu jangbaden rowaina dan one tane pamburo asra pambu shuch.
So therefore, if there's anyone that is practicing in this manner, in the sense that they're developing loving kindness and compassion and so forth, in all ways we should be supportive of them. If we act in ways which are undermining the practice, it is something that needs to be avoided in all ways.
Then sosu ngoni that jingandu kabdulaya samalogic and shuji ki jetuyada cover the in ganji sosu ngoni samananda ki do devaina tell tembi and sem papa and chik semya shide yonya and chik misura jitovaina ya and ko kaswa de chik boba the dem tone and draw to ya chik and then deni any then nimachila sepe go sepe nimoina ya chik lo devo chiyoya chik manam sambujina ya yak to ya chik tintigi any chagina ya gacha yatama dogro was the dinti jomboina and kewachima tipen devach but dichagdos ra.
So in that sense, even if we cannot sustain that with respect to a great community of people, still in our approach, we should try as much as possible to be pure, to maintain that sense of purity and cleanliness in our approach. And if we do that, Geshe believes that that will have an impact on our mind. Our mind would be more at ease, more relaxed. We'll have a greater degree of confidence. We'll be able to proceed to different directions or to do different things with a sense of confidence. And if we do that, when the time comes for us to pass from this lifetime to the next, we'll be able to still maintain that positive and healthy state of mind, to make our aspirations in a way that they will work. So all of those things that we do in our life, in terms of developing a genuine approach, a pure approach, genuine and pure attitude, maintaining a relaxed and happy, a well state of mind, all of those things will contribute to conditions that will be positive conditions at the time of death. And if we can do that, that would also have a positive effect over our next rebirth.
Then I got to be chose over Shivan Euros, Dinson, Nolene, Nujit Jebaino, and Kyong Mato, Kichi Yomaris, and Nelenia, Lentiadi, Sobocomiat, got to be cho, Sobocomiatita, Yashit Teres.
So therefore, this section of the commentary finishes with saying that finally also the austerity of patience disintegrates. Just go on. Shikpasea mebasoereve condition.
Shiksena Mantodre.
Chesandi Katupsea the Shik Jogires, the
Katubu cho to Sobares, Katubu said the Pignayach. Kaji during my cho to Kiwati, Sobocomiatis. The Sobocomiati never child of Lavada. Sobon ship dogs.
Kessi Lelon Lelo
Music. Pan music landovina, country landovina, and Zobanyang dogs.
So if you retaliate to harming another person, also the austerity of patience, which is a supreme practice, that austerity will deteriorate, will disintegrate.
Nipa so dribala, soba charipala shis, Nieme sogi rangi vula munebatan. Trova the drivi kanzala, rangi trova miribatan. Niebi parchichibi trova miribatan. Niebi parchichibi trova miribatan. Shen rang la mateba cheba trova miribos. Tambu nieme sogi rangi vula munebani. Yin luje mayin bi sugen kandu shomuni. lula ngomba shembe na lun dunga dagi news.
Let's look at the next section, which comes under the heading of being patient with those who would belittle you and so forth. So that continues on from verse 12. So let's just briefly look at what it means. So we started with being patient with those who create suffering for you, under the point of arresting fury towards those who wrong you. So the second way of wronging you is belittling you. So being patient with those who would belittle you and so forth is divided into 4 points. Despising and belittling one does not harm one's body. It is unreasonable for one to be furious with a person who is in rage. The third is, it is unreasonable to be furious because material gain has been obstructed. And finally, it is unreasonable to be furious because others lack faith in you. Beginning with despising and belittling one does not harm one's body. There are 2 verses in this section. Let's begin with verse 52, which reads, "Since my mind is not physical, in no way can anyone destroy it. Through it strongly adhering to my body is harmed by suffering."
Tilda ji the suzulya kakar tangwayneya ji kar dubja labayneya ani sem la pogoye chumudu was ani sem di luche mayimbi suyjan jomnu mares ra ani je suyjan jomnu mares rangi sem jom yagita ji sawno tamashina yungu yor madawe shengi rangi sem jomnu mares ra.
Another person might criticize you, might say very negative things to you, but those words cannot destroy your mind and cannot harm the body. However negative might be the thing that they say about you, it cannot destroy the body and cannot destroy your mind. Others cannot do it for you, you can do it. There are certain ways in which you can damage your mind, you can damage your body, and you can damage your mind, but others cannot do it, or the words of others cannot do it.
다 룰도 뭐 보시면은 룰도가 다 내생이 제외 쇠도지라다 지마도 냥 너무 됐어요. 아니 제외치가야 장기 샘소나 yin luje 마이를 쓰즈도 손을 쏘고 수익야 강디에 좀미소스 대나 또베 룰도 뭐 보시면은 룰도가 다 내비 초어체도 세나스.
So we read through verse 52. Let's look at a commentary to this verse. If I protect my mind then, since it is not physical, it cannot be harmed at all by harsh words, weapons, and so forth. Having said that, the following argument is stated. I get angry because the body harms me with suffering due to me grasping at the body.
미니 바이 찌디 르르 네버 민게나 샘규 찌시라도 트로스.
To answer that, the next verse says, since contempt, harsh speech, and unpleasant words do not cause any harm to my body, why mine do you become so angry?
Zeda penatzik minyen batang ani chi tsugi lula ai khayan lu mares ro lula khayan lu mare an kerang ini sem kerang ani chi truk deni ani pendo kardu se sojire dasra.
It is true, isn't it? Unpleasant words do not harm the body. So why mine do you find it so disturbing?
다 dinam dichiyoda da ona shengi rangi lulaya sen numni rangi lulaya dongan jungu dos ani chorigi doaroch dimji tobata di yon choyaro redos ra tobat dimji lebainas ra
Sun numne lula.
chitu lulaya chita.
Well, someone would say that since the body can be harmed by weapons and so forth, then it is suitable to get angry with the body.
Tadi khazin chidan nenjing rosa da khazin taliya shengi rangi lula yan chön numni an lula dumhan chongwa di lu khorang gi dumha gi gyuchi gi to gi dumha yongya de ma to lu khorang gi dumha gi gyuchi mena shengi chön khanda junno ba ine ya kazus tumba tama ine ya an lula kindu mares ra.
Sorry, I had a slip of a word. So I'll say it again. We've said before that in one of the previous verses, Geshe says that it is not suitable to get angry at a harm doer, even if they harm you physically. So, and this is what this section is also pointing at. So you could say that although words cannot harm my body, still, if another person can harm me physically by, for example, stabbing me with a knife or what have you, it is suitable to get angry at that person because they harm my body. So we've already addressed that before, in that this body that we have is a body in the nature of suffering. And we have acquired such a body that is so susceptible to injury. If we have a body that is in the nature of suffering, it is so susceptible to injury, why are we getting angry at someone that is harming us if it is susceptible to injury?
Terdinza shengi rangi lula ya chön nun dungan chongwa dile ya ani sem kyona ani choni goden zawni ni ma dir lu khurang gyenes ikran ani choni ani goba khari yores ro goba chi yo males ta kanji.
So, oh mind, why are you getting angry when someone is taking up weapons and harming you? It is in the nature of the body in itself to be harmed. It is due to the body itself that you are harmed. So why are you getting angry with another person?
Terdinza tanganzu gi lula ya kyen yeda mese di ra anzu kaddu na lengi number jibi namcho gorse de tuzo samalo la jaydos rang lula kyen yeda me tola ya samu tangana nanzu ludi kyenjin chire dos ra kyenjin jinza kyen karda phebaina ani kyen dunga yungors ta kanji ani kanga di yang yungors di lu khorang kyen re matobi ani Geshe gani gyatamba shenla ya kasha sa yodevasi chago mares ro.
But so what we want to assess is our body to see whether there is a fault in the body. We do want to develop wisdom, intelligence that can well discern between the positive and the negative, if there is a fault, if there's no fault. So let's look at our body. Is our body faultless or does it have faults? We can come to see when we develop our own wisdom how there are faults in the body.
Tere da beda nganzu lule kyen mebayna nganzu lu shiuchi ani semni lawaji lu songyo chiyoras nganzu mesemang che tuzu di lu songyo chiyachido tang imbas ro inaya lu du do mado ani yagres zawni mudos di lu kyenes ro.
Is it the case that there are no faults in the body? When we look at the different things that we do throughout our life, we can see how our focus is mainly oriented towards the body. We regard protecting the body as being more important than protecting our mind. And most of the things that we do throughout our life are oriented towards protecting the body. And yet, when you look at the body itself, it's not that because you protect the body, it becomes better and better. It actually goes from bad to worse. As we age, the body deteriorates. And this is a fault of the body.
Tinza kadzusugi yagu chebayna ya yagi droya megyu lutele ya an kiran di gavla lani kundro sadebayna kiran kale karores sem kiran kale karores tinza sem kiran su dese ursa su dene kipshires ra.
No matter how much hard you try, the body just goes from bad to worse. So what's the point of getting angry with the body? Rather than becoming irritated or becoming angry on account of the body, just take it easy, remain relaxed. It seems that this is what this verse says. Take it easy, be relaxed. Don't get angry with the body, because no matter how much you try, it will get worse.
Reda nanzuda tuzangi bi da chik sik beju chidan trading sing talaka samdamana semperande debayna chikchina ludi de yoyak se ring droyagi jeva diche yores ra semperle chin yabayna ani lude chajmado ludur droyagi ani di ken dro mares ra dinza tas kanji ani semdi lelu chingoya pe masu kitchen bredos ra.
We can also add to that a point from contemporary medical science. They say that if you maintain, in science, they say that if you maintain a healthy state of mind, if your state of mind is well, it also affects your physical well-being. So if you want to bring a greater sense of longevity, it's good to take care of the mind, to maintain a happy and relaxed state of mind that could contribute to a physical well-being.
Re da shen ki rang la nye ba tan tsik zu ma wa tan sin jewe na minyen ba ye tsik de ye rang gu lu la chung se kyang ne ba min gyur na sem kye chi cher rab du cho amerik sos.
So we read through verse 53. Let's look at the commentary to that. When the criticism, harsh words, and unpleasant words do not harm my body in the least, then why do you get angry, mind? It is unsuitable.
Da niwa cho dan jewi kansa la rangi cho amerik banes shenda da la megawa dene tsin dem tse shen la da la sawar me che na da ni chi she temen des.
So we've covered the first point in the section that explains being patient with those who would belittle you and so forth. The second point says it is unreasonable for one to be furious with a person who is in a rage. Let's look at verse 54. It says, if others dislike me, will not devour me, either in this or in another life, why do I not want it?
Shenda dala magawa ti ni tsel dem tseram shenla dala nöchen sawar mechena dana chi she te mende chins teme ki donga gi gyutroba che mende be mirik sos.
The commentary to this section says, if the dislike by others for me does not harm and devour me in this life or in other lives, then why do I have dislike for them? This only unnecessarily creates the cause for suffering. Dislike is unsuitable.
Reda kanji ta sosola magawa chingin ta yong chogros ra yong da yong. Ani tamkila tuji chimbo dembi tembo kadrin chen la ya anchi ani jansam chingin ta ani chi magawa chingin chi yongu yo na ani nganso ta wala ya ani ta jasa jatam ba ta yongros yina ya di la ya ti magawa chingin ti susu chen da chima kham la ya chi kya sa do maris kya ani laya khan chetu maris kanjiro inza delaya chik magawa che goyagi tenda tsawni ni yo maris ketzi magawa che bayna kyarangi laya kyarangi karsota dunghagi gyu kyarangi droba de chigwa chado warti tsawni ni ta mö wajirwas ring maris.
It is possible that there are some who dislike us. After all, when you think of even the Buddha, the one that was skilled in means and imbued with great kindness, even the Buddha had some that disliked him. if there were those that dislike the Buddha, needless to say that it is not unreasonable that there would be those who dislike us. But in a way, we should therefore develop a sense of dislike to them. If others dislike you, it will not devour you in this or future lives. But if you develop a sense of dislike to them, you're creating the cause for your own suffering in the future. And therefore, it doesn't make sense at all to develop a sense of animosity towards others.
That's why you party chip to America langas. Never said that you susugi. The Chalala soba, Yoshella soba layachi. Nego party chibatelia, and Shuji dansam down. Magawa chediati, Troji diadi, Zavani wish so much Maris rough nas, never knew GB, tea parcella trolley button. Lobby never dribba, gabatan. Never the civil miriba, bear dribatan. Never the civil miribi ginsenta. Never drip, riba, gabos.
The third point under this section says it is unreasonable to be furious because material gain has been obstructed. So in terms of your possessions, in terms of things of value to you, it is unreasonable to be furious because they have been obstructed. Sorry. There are 5 points in this section. It says, first off, it is unreasonable to be furious at obstructions to material gain because they quickly perish. Then arresting pursuit of wrongdoing. The third point is establishing by means of an example the unreasonableness of craving material gains. The fourth is the reasons why craving material gains is unreasonable. And finally, refuting the reasoning behind spending one's time in material pursuits. Let's begin with the first point, which is it is unreasonable to be furious at obstructions to material gain because they quickly perish.
Tambo never knew to GB, tea parcel 12 millivers. Never party chebish, cotton to the Mendenas.
The first two lines in verse 55 read, because it will hinder my gain, I do not want this.
Neme sogi rangi never party chebish, cotton never so sumbun to the Mendenas.
So first off, having stated this way of thinking, Geshe Domination presents an argument. I do not like criticism, slander, and harsh words as they obstruct my gain.
Dag in even the Turkey, the Vatan Tavanis, can't you turn to Chogumbi, Dag in even Sendian, near to Turkey, Trovi the Vatan, Gulatava, Nebe, never Madrigan high, Tro Medic source.
Answering this argument is found in the last two lines of this verse. I destroy my gain in this, and negativity abide firmly. Geshe Domination explains that in saying the gain for which one meditates on anger will be destroyed quickly in this life, and the negativity of anger will remain firmly in my continuum. It is easier to not achieve gain, and it is unsuitable to get angry.
Never lobby, never dribble governance. Danny, Tini Shin Lai, Lotsu Yurin, so Muru. Dada Yurin, you can chill doing things.
Let's look at the second point in that section. It comes out of the heading of arresting the pursuit of wrongdoings in verse 56. It says, thus it is better that I die today than live a long time through wrong livelihood. Even if I should live a long time, there will be the very suffering of death.
Dagineba meba tensan ten sanya ni shin lies and shen the tribi nieba tobi lokso la teni yuru sun morongos goba tsao ni yo maris kansna ta diwa bashi ro ani chuju chigla ya semba ina ya ani chik second la ya ani digba man pradesh ma to loksu nieba la teni ani lu karso ta chik tserin bu deba ina di rinla ya digba bashi sa de ma to bi tenda shin kan yo maris ro dada yuri neba gyokyan tar tamji toni chi udunga teni le mande bicheros.
The commentary to this section says, even if I die today without any gain, that is easier. But it is unsuitable to live long with a wrong livelihood gained through anger. Even if someone like me abides for a long time, in the end, I have to give up everything and I'm not beyond the very suffering of death. So if you live a life of wrong livelihood, and let's say that a certain activity of wrong livelihood takes an hour. During that hour, at the passing of each second, each moment, the fault is growing stronger and stronger. So if you live a long life that is full of wrong livelihood, what benefit do you get from that? You'll only get fault. So it's best not to live a long life if it is full of wrong livelihood. So looking again at this section, it says, even if I die today without any gain, that is easier. But it is unsuitable to live long with a wrong livelihood gained through anger. Even if someone like me abides for a long time, in the end, I have to give up everything, and I'm not beyond the very suffering of death.
When I was working in palliative care, I looked after a man who was worked at an abattoir and killed a lot of pigs. And so he was dying, and he said to me, that this was all he could think about, was all the pigs that he had killed. And it's really quite distressing and agitating for his mind. What can you do at that stage of death? I didn't know how to support him, to tell you the truth. I was a Buddhist then, but I didn't know what to...
What can you do as a person that is dying or a person that is helping a person that is dying?
Well, I guess both. I would have liked to... I was wondering, how could I have supported him to help him to die a bit more comfortably? What to do?
Konyamandi nek tebarwa. Ani shi drawingi never chila ropa chedorwa. Never digi karla baresina. Koran mitse kansa lega leandi shagana lega lene papa mabo sebarwa. Ani shiga lamula Koran dimato shenda tola samlo tan tugi mendosa. Koran dente mambochi senche mambochi sen yuesa. Ta kabdila kola Kosem la kare pengiyo me ngone lama shiva cha sonsa. Kabde la kransam na kare chena yaksares. Kare pengires.
Ta khogita ngi lega tab kyo shu chejada mezegan da dindiro chin tangi meze zosota besa sha sambi gyobaji ki yobaina ta penshu yakshu deres ro.
Well, when you think of someone that has that sense of regret for the way that they have spent their life, for example, spending a life in working in the meat industry and so forth, you can think that actually it is a good outcome to have that deep sense of regret at the end of your life. So they do have regret, but regret is a positive thing.
Taji nyepatang loksodang ta dindila teni taji sowadi ya goden tsawni ni mebadi ta rigbo ya kushodri tomda sungdas ta yine nganzu bedi kap and did jamgar solution meze khanzala ya ani jaschim shode ta lokso drugo re nyebala ya seba ki khor se sor chagdas ra.
The point that Shantideva makes here is pertinent. says that what the point is in having long life if you're going to spend it in wrong livelihood. There is no point in that. And yet, when we look at the way that we live a life, we often do the opposite. We live a life being involved with wrong livelihood, trying as much as possible to gain from that, to profit from that.
레더도 상황로 용약 견자 쪽으로 되니 아니 로초 용야 당 직상으로 견자디 착과 뇌연의 착과들에도 그러 직단 뇌연의 차는데 직 주변적으로 서부터 쉬우직 배자대서라야 이체들 가르쳤대 직 제대하듯이 만들고 지래도 간지고 대초 초시대 제토바이나 아니 냠nen데려야 팽기어라서 냠는 델레 펜바이노 아니 앵간줄레 고 니젠디 아니 끼어균이다 로고엔자 끼어균 조야들이야 펜도여버치 레가치 가르도 디 딩간줄 고고라서 디 용구여레스 간지
The motivating force behind wrong livelihood that we engage with in this life is attachment and craving to gain and so forth. So if we want to avoid wrong livelihood, what we need to address is that sense of attachment. So we want to reduce our attachment to have lesser desire and to be more content. And if we take it into a practice, then we make sure that if we live a long life with a lesser sense of attachment, with being more content, then we'll live a life that is free from the sense of wrong livelihood. So this is what you can do in your practice.
대단한스럽도 중국 거든 쪽으로디야 아니 대용화당 자원용이 쳇 그러 디디저스 디자 딘티기 도쇼소르즈야 niepa당 아니 고르테당 아니 론저당 저절에 쉬우직 답시 제대로는 아니 잡도 좀 거든 만상 디 차도 असरा 지단이 몇 삼고는 디 아니 단 디기어 말아서 간지 끼어 치말이야 아니 수수래야 도디 침 차르가자 디 아니 침니 붙이
So when we become ordained, the goal is to reduce the thirst that we get involved with, to reduce the activities that we participate in, to have less weight, less affairs. If we become ordained and yet we still become very busy with gain, with pursuing after respect and veneration, if we pursue material gain and so forth, all those ways of acting are not really fulfilling the purpose of becoming ordained. It's not only for ordained people. You can say that also for everyone. If we get involved with the pursuit of gain and honor and so forth, at the end, it doesn't serve us well in this life. Thank you. Let's leave it here for now. Rinpoche make pana gyegyuchi yewa nyamba lepayam kone kundu pewa sho yududa lama sangye tugyune doa chikyama lupa te salagopa sho Kawe shinkanzu tendan dewa malu juwe chere siwan tenzin gyatsa shape site batu tengyu sunju drupe lam shiche zote chana bemo tenzin gyatso la soa depso shenru sho Changshin Changun Yahweh Tenzin Yahweh Kunzo Do Poze Chosun Kowe Le Mon Tudo Pahada Sodu Shin Kondu Shaten Sho
are you?
Huh?
How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
No chat today.
Sorry?
There was no chat until the goodbyes now.
Well, maybe Graham is not here.
I was thinking.
Graham, the instigator. Is he here?